5 minutes.
Thank you. Good to see you, Chief Chavez and Chief Modlin, again. I think I met you, Chief Chavez, first in El Paso, and so it's good to see both of you here. And first want to say thanks to your line agents and your team who do such an incredible job fighting this fight, and it is a real fight. My first question is this: what does CBP and Intelligence Division tell you that the percentage of drugs that are being interdicted crossing the southern border? In other words, I know what they've told me. I'm not sure I can say it publicly, but you can. What have they told you? What's the percentage that's being interdicted? Chief Modlin?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the question. I can tell you, I don't know that I've ever seen a, or heard a briefing that said what they thought the percentage of effectiveness was in terms of narcotics. I can tell you that, we do have a measurement to measure the effectiveness of the border security efforts. And unfortunately, currently in Tucson sector, we tend to be at about 60% effectiveness, and that's due to all of the points I made in the opening statements and one of my earlier responses about the cartels saturating our agents, and of course all the rescues that take place and everything else going on.
You get diverted, and both of your sectors are vastly different. In fact, in Arizona, the Tucson sector is very different than the Yuma sector, totally different. So, but the question that we're hearing is that most fentanyl is interdicted at the ports. Of course, OFO is going to interdict most of it because that's where they have extra machines, dogs, all the personnel and equipment there. And when you have over 1 million people coming in between the borders, many of them, as you said, I think you guys stopped 216,000, Chief Modlin, young single adult males in camo carrying backpacks. So it's a very different thing. So you can ignore that you only catch about 15% roughly at the ports of entry. You've got a major problem. Chief Modlin, I want to talk briefly about the manpower into the Tucson sector. I've been told by agents on the ground that some of Tucson's agents are being farmed out or being allowed to go to other sectors. Is that accurate?
Thanks again for the question, sir. So there are some agents from the Tucson sector that are outside the Tucson sector. It's a small number. I believe it might be about 20 to 30 now that are going to other sectors. Tucson sector, in terms of personnel, is the largest sector. We have more agents than any other sector. So often, Tucson sector is utilized for things like that. And then Tucson sector also has the largest special operations detachment as well, which is comprised of Borstar and Bortax. So they're often used in places where we see an increase in, for instance, migrant rescues, water rescues. Then the teams will be deployed as well. And
you also have the largest number of known gotaways along the southwest border.
Sir, I believe that's Del Rio sector, just barely ahead of us. But
you guys you're fighting.
Ours is a very significant number, yes, sir.
So when I look at that, I guess the question is, because I've been down there many times, how many of your line agents get diverted to detention and processing?
Yes, sir. Again, thanks for the question. So this is constantly a challenge with us. As you know, border security operations are incredibly complex. Currently, about 20% of our uniformed personnel are in processing. Thankfully, as Chief Chavez noted earlier, the Border Patrol is starting to utilize Border Patrol processing coordinators that are not law enforcement, that can do a lot of the work that Border Patrol agents have traditionally been doing that's outside the interdiction work and the work where someone needs to be sworn law enforcement.
So let's consider this. If you have an agent that tracks someone, and maybe it's a group of 20 people in the Tucson sector, they can be literally 4 hours before you're going to see anybody able to even come out and pick them up and transport them.
Yes, sir. So the very difficult thing about the Tucson sector, multiple mountain ranges, 9,000 feet up, and many times these migrants get up into those mountains. It can take an entire shift to track a group, as you described, and even then, they can be apprehended hours from the nearest paved road.
And that'll also keep agents off the line and leave a wide open sector
Yes, sir. It all adds to what our agents have to do out in the field, whether it's a rescue, whether it's an apprehension.
Thanks. I yield back.